All right. Okay, this always feels awkward at the beginning, as no one can answer back. So anyway, I'll start very soon now. We are 2 minutes past the time. Okay, so okay. So okay, thank you for listening to this either live or a recording. The plan is, as always, after 4 weeks, we do a demo of the job that was done, at least what is very visible in the console. After that, we started a few releases back to have a little demo after the Hawkular demo. This time, it's Gary Brown who will do a demo of what we call the Hawkular business transaction management. And this is not yet incorporated in Hawkular. It will be in the future. I've seen the demo a couple of weeks back. It's pretty interesting if you want to have more deep understanding on how your application is performing. So Gary will do that after my very short demo. To be short, because there's not tons of new things that are visible on the console, but I'll go through that quickly. So I will share my screen. Entire screen, that sounds good. So if you don't know the screen, then I'm hopeless now. So this is the Alpha 7. It's actually already released, but the blog will be announced after, as usual. So my login screen, I've already created a user. So I'm just logging in as my user, and this was already configured to self-monitor. So here you see that you may not see because it's small. I'm zooming, hopefully it's easier to see now, but I am actually monitoring here my Hawkular server. So that's a new thing, and that now it actually says, it used to say it's Wi-Fi because Hawkular server is based on Wi-Fi. Now it says what it actually is monitoring, which here it is Hawkular 100 Alpha 7. A little bit of cosmetic change in here, like the summary bar. So it's a small detail, was interesting. Other changes are also kind of cosmetic changes, but the alerts used to be displayed here in the list, and here you have a little bit more details on each tab. You see all the alerts on the right side, so you can more easily find your alerts about a specific aspect. So here it's about the JVM of this particular application server. You see that we have an alert here that the garbage collection was too slow, and you see the same graphs as before. So before I navigate between the alerts and alerts definition, I'm actually not sure if it's an Alpha 6, Alpha 7 release. I didn't do the demo last time, and I'm not sure when it made it to the release. But now you have a way to zoom in a graph, and actually Mike is working on a better way to navigate through the graphs. But here you can already say, I want to have more details about this timing, and here you have the graphs between 11:44 and and 2:45 something. But you can always go back to, let's say, the previous hour or previous 12 hours. That's still available, obviously. Yeah, these other parts about the alerts and alert definitions. Okay, from here you can go and click and view the details of the alerts. So here you see that the state is open, the high availability and so on, the severity and so on. This we've demoed already. Heiko demoed that last time. You have the alert, you can put a comment, and actually anyone having access to the alert will be able to add a comment. But the multi-tenancy is not fully implemented yet. Can go back to see all the alerts. So I see that I have 2 alerts that have been opened, and also I can see all the alert definitions. So here now I'm back in the alert center, where you see all the alert definitions for all the servers. And you can filter down, and for instance, if you want only to see the critical definitions, here you see, I started to type C, you have the critical ones. Or if you want to see, here you have some alert definitions for URLs when it's done. But if I was typing living on the edge, you also see all the alert definition for this particular URL. So basically type anything and it's filtered down. So it's very, very quick to find out or filter down alert definitions here. The other thing I wanted to show, and here you see you can have access to the alert definition going from the server itself. I'm unsure what was available before, but here you still have the list of GDB drivers, and you can delete one or add a data source. And this was already available, or deleted a data source. You need to be careful if you delete a data source, obviously. So I'm not doing that here. And that's part of the new things. The topology view is still here, obviously. For now, it's just one server and a multiple number of deployments and 2 data sources. And if you click on a double click on the deployment, you get to see the back to the server monitoring and the list of all the deployments. So something that is new and very nice, very cool. I think last time we showed I call that the Easter eggs, but if you click here, you kind of enter an experimental mode. There's this install agent UI now. And from here, you can more easily instrument an existing application server. So I'm going to do that now. I have a plain old Wi-Fi 9 zip file here that I'm going to extract. And what I can do here is, I get the path. Actually, this is optional, but here you can paste the location of the Wi-Fi directories you want to monitor, or you want to instrument so that you can monitor it. So instrumenting meaning you put the agent and you configure the Wi-Fi server to report back to the Hawkular server. So I'm putting my credential here. Okay. I'm not making a mistake. Downloading the installer. So the installer here is pre-configured for my needs. So it knows where the Hawkular server is. It will pre-fill the username, the password, and be ready to be installed. Saving this my server, and I am going to execute that. This is the file. I should not have anything else to do than that. Okay, it's done. It's installed. Just again, put install the agent, new modules to the Wi-Fi server, and configure it. One thing I will still want to do, because I'm running Hawkular server and the agent on the same machine, is that I want to give them different names. So, sorry, in configuration. Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm getting confused now. So I will give it a name. Name equals Marge. And now I can go ahead and start it. The port offset so it doesn't collide with my Hawkular server. And if I go back here, it should come in a second. Oh, demo effect. What did I do? Unauthorized. It means I probably messed up my password, which is interesting. And yeah, it's not this one. Wrong password. And by the way, later, instead of user and password, we'll use offline tokens, at least as a possibility. So you will just have a long string, and that will be enough. Yes, now my Marge server, again, I said it's Wi-Fi, a Wi-Fi server, and it's up and running, obviously. Last thing I could do is I happen to have JBoss EAP7, like a private internal release, and I'm going also to try to monitor that. So same thing, Java -star, and okay, and I need also to configure my need to give it name. And I also need to fix my password because I reuse the same agent. And now I will start it again with another port offset. So I use one before, I use two now, so that should be fine. And I should see my new server, EAP server. Oh, it's recognized. Oh, why did that? Okay, I haven't. Should have said name. Maybe I messed up my configuration file. You know better than me. You saw what I've done. But yeah, it says EAP 7. Beta 1. Interesting. So that's how easy it is now to instrument an existing server. So you've seen that I use the UI to actually download my pre-configured agent installer. Then I go on my existing Wi-Fi server. It could be already running. I mean, it could be already configured with some applications, and I need to install the agent and start it. And here I see my 3 servers. So I'm sorry. And I think that's all I wanted to share here. So yeah, those are the alert definitions, but basically the same information as before. So I will spend more time just to spend more time. So I will just give back the presentation to Gary, who's going to do the Hawkular BTM demo.
Okay. Thanks, Thomas. Can you hear me okay?
It's a bit weak, but I think it's fine. It might be me. So.
And can you see the screen share?
I don't see the screen share.
It's not coming up.
No. I see you, but I don't see the
Yeah, the screen share is not coming up for some reason.
Try again. Tried something.
Oh, okay. The window is hidden. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, so what I'm going to be demonstrating is just beyond version 0.5 of the Hawkular Business Transaction Management project. So 0.5 was released a couple of weeks ago. So I'll start off by doing a demo of the functionality in that release, and then at the end I'll demonstrate some new functionality in the current master. And for this demo, I'm going to be monitoring some business transactions using the JBoss Ticket Monster application, which can be found at this location here. Okay, so just to show how, hopefully how easy it is to get up and running with the business transaction management stuff. What I'm going to do is start off from the distributions themselves. So I've got the current snapshot here. So what I do is start up the business transaction management server at offset 100, so it doesn't conflict with the Ticket Monster application. And the Ticket Monster application itself is distributed as source. So what I do is I go into here and kick off a build. And then while that's running, I'm going to be installing that into a JBoss ESB 6.4 server. So the application is built already. So what I do is I get the WAR file from the target folder. And then place it into the standalone deployments. And then just before starting up the server, there's a couple of things that you need to do to be able to instrument the application that's running in the server. Is to set an environment variable called BTM home. So I've set that to point to a BTM folder that's inside the distribution. And then once that's done, just simply run a script in that folder. And all that basically does is set the the collection mechanism that does the instrumentation inside the application's environment uses the Byteman project. So some of the environment variables that are set here to do with Byteman. There's also a Java agent that's configured, which is in a jar file, and the Java agent basically provides the wrapping and the rule creation for the Byteman project. Then there's also some other environment variables that are passing in things like the location of the business transaction management server and some user credentials. Okay, so once that's done, you basically just start the server. once that's starting up, I'll start up a browser and go to the, there's a Hawkular -UI BTM URL. So that starts, and I'll username and password. So initially, because it's a fresh installation, there's no business transactions configured. So as we can see, the Ticket Monster application started up. So what I do is I'll go to that application. And then what I do is I'm going to create an example business transaction. And what this does is it gives the business transaction management server some information that can then be used to help configure some specific business transactions. So I'm just going to order a couple of tickets for a particular event, specify myself as the email address. Okay, so that's one booking that's been done. If I go back to the business transaction user interface, I now see that there's some candidate URIs. So these are basically picked up from that business transaction activity that I performed. So now what we want to try and do is categorize these into different business transactions that we're interested in. First one I'm going to do is the media service. These URLs are only actually used to retrieve images. So what I'm going to do is say that we want to actually ignore these URIs. But what I want to do is be able to sort of ignore any URIs, this particular regular expression, rather than just this specific one. So when I save that, if I go back to the candidates page again now, it's stripped out all of the media related URIs, so it'll no longer be reporting any business transactions for those URIs. Okay. So another one we might be interested in is the events service, but this time I'm going to say we want to manage these particular events. But similarly, as with the media service, this URI is a bit too specific, so I'm just going to make it more generic. So now it's going to pick up all the events. But then what I want to do is, because I'm interested in this particular transaction, I want to be able to extract that event ID because it may be useful in further analysis that we might want to do. So I create a processor. This header part of the processor definition is to do with just identifying which parts of the business transaction we're interested in. So I'm not going to go into too much detail on this now, but basically what I'm interested in is information from the consumer. So that's the service itself that was inbound, so the input. And then I'm going to define an action to evaluate the URI. And for this, I basically just type a template of the URL that we're interested in. You define on a REST API. So if I say event ID, so what that should do is extract the event ID and store the event ID as a property now. And then finally, the other transaction I'm interested in is bookings. So if I select that URI and again say we want to manage it. This time what I'm going to do is set up a processor on the outbound, so the response messages, and extract some properties from the response. So what I'll do is I'll have an action type which is set a property. So the first property I'm interested in is the ID. And I know that the message is of a JSON type, so I'm going to define a JSON path expression. These can be a bit cryptic, so as the tools evolve, we'll hopefully be able to provide tooling that be more helpful in constructing these. So what I do is I'll extract a contact email. Okay, so now if we go back to the main page, so we've got the two services that we're interested, and the ignored page shows the services that are being ignored. If I press on the View Analytics page, This shows the Kibana dashboard, so we can see some of the analytics. So the response time information is shown at the top. There's various things, so if there was any faults, they would be shown here. Some information about the URIs. But what I wanted to quickly show is, so this part of the page is showing the business transactions that have been reported. And as you see at the moment, this is based on the initial business, the transaction that I did earlier to buy some tickets. So at the moment, nothing's been classified as a business transaction. And the other thing is there's no property information here. So now if I go back to the Ticket Monster application and do a similar transaction again. And find my email address again. And I go through, do another transaction. This time I'll specify a different email address. If we go back to the dashboard, as you can see that updated, there's a refresh of 10 seconds. So we've now got a couple of transactions. And if we go back to the Kibana dashboard, we can see that those transactions have now been classified as being part of those business transactions. But you also notice now that we've captured the individual properties that we were interested in. So the performance, unfortunately, these fields are IDs, so they're not meaningful information. But again, potentially in the future, what we could do is for certain fields where we know what information they represent, then we maybe pull reference information from a well-known source or something that could then help to present more meaningful information on the user interface. And similarly, event ID, so that was pulled from the information pulled from the URI, and contact details. So those were the two email addresses that were provided. If for those of you that are not familiar with Kibana, it provides a sort of useful tool because it's quite sort of general purpose, but it allows you to sort of analyze the information and click on particular fields to focus things you're interested in. And you can customize the dashboard. So for example, if I duplicate this particular widget and customize it, so if I'm interested in the performance, information about the performances, for example, I can change this field to say I'm interested in the performance ID, and now I get a graph that's basically showing the percentage of bookings that were made for each of those performances. So without directly adding any instrumentation into the application itself, we've very quickly been able to extract some business meaning and that can be helpful to users. So that's basically where we the 0.5 version, the 0.5 version of Business Transaction Management tool is, and then just wanted to just show the kind of information that we're capturing at the moment from the application. So this is a JSON sort of document representing the structure of a business transaction fragment that's captured from the client environment. So the outer or the top level nodes, as you can see, represents the consumer, and it shows the URL. Then within that, there's a component which is an EJB in this case. And then within that, still, you can break it down to the individual database transactions that were performed. So as the tooling develops, we'll be able to show this information in an end-to-end representation of the individual business transactions. Okay, so that's kind of the end of the demo for the 0.5 version, but I just wanted to show a bit of what's coming up in the next version as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start a script that's generating some sort of dummy random records. And I'm close Kibana at the moment. So when you, at the moment in the 0.5 version, when you click on this link here, it goes to effectively a blank page. But since then, we've been starting to build some more sort of graphical aspect to show the information using the hopefully the nice sort of features, or some of the nice features from the Kibana style of user interface. So this can be used to identify the sort of the aggregation interval for the records. So it's showing the maximum, average, and then minimum details. You also get the individual transaction account, and if there was any faults, they get shown here. You can define the time range that you're interested in, and then currently, if the value of until is set to now, it will just continually refresh, and it's showing an update, continually updated view. You can also sort of freeze the display, so it fixes it on the time you selected. But it'd be useful to be able to pick up the thing that Thomas was demonstrated with the graph in the other demo, about being able to select an individual time range. So that's something that can hopefully be added in the near future. There's a pie chart that can be used to show the breakdown of faults, and also you can show information about the breakdown of for any particular property, the breakdown of values. So this is hopefully allows somebody to get business value out of the information that they've specified from those properties. And in the same style as the Kibana dashboard, if you select on any particular piece of information, it can then be used to focus the entire dashboard on that value, or the negation of that value. So you can say you're interested in all the information apart from the information about that user. And the same goes for faults. So if we're interested in sold out, or if we're not interested in the sold out faults. And the only other thing is this lower bound. So at the moment, the time range has an origin of 0 seconds. But if we're just interested in looking at the transactions that perhaps took the highest 10% of the time, so the range now changes. So it's focused on those particular business transactions that took the longest time. Okay, I think that's all to show for the moment.
Thanks, Gary. So yeah, the idea is not to do like analytics for your marketing. It's really about performance analysis. So there's no the idea is that Hawkular BTM is going to be integrated with the rest of Hawkular. It's just not the case at this time. So if someone hear us and wants to help, that will be great as well. So that's it for the demo of today, and probably try to talk to you in 4 weeks. We'll get very close to Christmas, so it might be your first Christmas gift. So thanks everyone, and talk to you in 4 weeks. Bye.